The anime begins with an online video game called Boot Bloom, played by Ryota Sakamoto, who gets 4 stars and ranks on B-Toon. Sakamoto is challenged by another player who is number 2 worldwide. He then tells about the game in which only bombs are used as weapons. 3 million copies of this game are sold worldwide. Sakamoto is 22 years old and has married someone in the game. He is considered the strongest and most respected player in the game, and he is satisfied with all this. He finds himself on a remote tropical island. When he wakes up, he is hanging by a parachute. He doesn't know what happened to him, and he only remembers that he was playing B-Toon in his room, but does not know how he ended up that way. His bag and other necessary things are with him. He has many bombs in his bag, as well as a lunchbox. There is no mobile service at that location. He sees an Igyo chip in his left hand and is frightened by different insects in the forest. He ended up on a beach at last. He felt the way of life on the island was similar to the game Doom. He remembers that he is one of the top players in the MMO game Poon. He lives in an apartment with his mother, who once tried to get him a job at a grocery store, but he left her and then encountered 2 men outside. The bombs in his bag work the same way in the game. Meanwhile, he sees a man running madly toward him. The man throws bombs at him and he only wants to kill Sakamoto. He realizes that he is supposed to play B-Toon in real life. He runs fast to save his life, but the man continuously chases him and uses bombs to kill him. At last, Sakamoto takes out a bomb from the bag and throws it at the man, but it does not hit him. He hides in the bushes to save himself and suddenly realizes that the bombs he has are actually time bombs. He then goes underwater, puts the bomb under the man's feet, and kills him. He understands that freedom is earned by killing other people. After this, he becomes very emotional about killing a human being. The girl named Himiko is recalling how she met Sakamoto. She was watching Sakamoto and his friends who had just come with a new victory. Everyone praised them, and some wanted to join them. Sakamoto came to her and asked if she would play with them. She denied that she didn't know how to play B-Toon properly, but Sakamoto said he would assist her. Himiko is a simple girl and a high school student. She just goes to school and hangs out with friends whenever she has time. After this, she goes to her friend Mio and tells her that she played B-Toon with Sakamoto. After that, they go to many places, and after a few times, she also starts appearing in B-Toon. She came to the island just now by parachute, and she has a bag of familiar weapons and bombs. She knows that they are used to kill other people. She says to herself she was sent here as punishment for a mistake. She is afraid to go into the woods, so she lies on the shore under a tree. She has a flashback in which her friends are looking at her chain letter. At present, some people come to her, and she becomes afraid of them, but they ask her to calm down. After this, they start fishing with the help of bombs and talk about the game while eating fish. One of them is a teacher who is disliked by the hunter. They decide to live as a team and make Himiko their captain. After some time, they see a plane and reach there to see and get food. They can't control themselves and start eating. Meanwhile, the teacher comes there and scolds them because they have less food. He asks them to divide it equally. The hunter gets angry and slits the teacher's throat, and he dies there. Himiko is sleeping when Mitsuo comes to her and says they have to run away because they are in danger. They both run away, leaving the hunter and taking all the stuff with them. Mitsuo uses his radar and learns that the hunter is behind them. They run very fast. They cross the rope bridge, and Mitsuo holds her hand and tries to force her, but she punches him and runs away. She remembers her friends being raped by Yoshioka and his group. One of her friends, Miho, called her for help, but she couldn't help her and ran away to save herself and called the cops. Later, Miho yells at Himiko and wishes she would disappear. She says that it's her punishment. Mitsuo tries to rape Himiko, but she throws a bomb at him. When she is cleaning her dress, she sees Sakamoto there. When Himiko sees Sakamoto, she runs away. He sees that she has a lot of food and tries to stop her, but she does not stop and think of him like other men who want to use her. Sakamoto uses his radar to find her. He sees someone on the radar and goes to her, but it's not anyone other than Kiyoshi who is hiding in the bushes. Sakamoto tells him what he's doing here and how they got here. He tells him that they arrived here by cargo plane. He says that they were 30 in number on the plane, and they were told by a fat man that they needed 8 chips to win the game that could be taken from another person after his death. When all the people protested, he killed one of them. He also informed them about the chip they have on their hands, which can be removed after their death. Sakamoto says if it's right, then why doesn't he remember anything? He tells him that he has been given electrical shots because he claimed to recognize the man who was instructing them. Sakamoto guesses that a company is behind this game. He says they have to work together to get these chips. Firstly, he thinks that they have to kill 14 people, but Kiyoshi tells him they can't do it. They think maybe there's another way to win the game. Sakamoto agrees with him, and soon they see a plane. Sakamoto runs fast to get food, but another girl comes there and is killed because there's a bomb in that place. A person comes to her and takes away the trunk. Her gem, her chip, and everything. Sakamoto sees a parachute and tells Kiyoshi that it's a trap to kill anyone. But when he sees the dead body of the girl, he asks if he killed her. Sakamoto tells him that it's a trap. If he goes there before her, then he is killed. Kiyoshi says that they have to take risks if they want to survive. They can't beat anyone without food. After that, they go to the woods and see a child fully covered in blood, and a half-dead body of a person is laid down there. The police arrest a 14-year boy, Kira Kosuke, who has killed and raped 3 women. 2 policemen are talking about him. One of them tells the other that Soichi Natsume is going to be his lawyer. Kosuke kills frogs while counting them when Soichi forbids him to do so. He says there's a difference between killing someone for eating and killing someone for joy, but he doesn't listen to him. Soon they see a plane throwing a parachute and they go there to see it, and Soichi asks Kosuke to call his father. Kosuke's father asks Kosuke to fire a bomb because the parachute is hanging on the tree. When his father sees a lot of food and other things, he tries to get them all. They say they have to divide this food, but Kosuke's father flees with all the food. Kosuke stops him from doing so, but he gets angry and attacks him. His father has always bullied and abused him. Kosuke fixes a bomb on his father's shirt. He tries to take off his shirt, but the bomb explodes and he dies. Natsume, standing with Kosuke, gets frightened to see Kosuke's happiness and excitement. Kosuke asks Natsume to protect him as a lawyer, but he runs away, calling him a devil. Meanwhile, Sakamoto and Kiyoshi come there. When they see Kosuke with a dead body, they get afraid and run. When they are running, Kiyoshi falls and gets injured. Sakamoto says they can't run anymore. They have to fight with Kosuke. He tells Kiyoshi to hide anywhere, because if he is hiding, then anyone can't see him on radar. He moves back and encounters Kosuke. Kiyoshi also comes there and takes Jim from the dead body. Kosuke throws a bomb at him, but he escapes. Then, he throws another bomb, after fixing it on his bag. Sakamoto throws the bag in the air to get rid of the bomb and hides behind the stone. He falls on another stone and gets injured. He loses his senses, thinks that it's just a game, and drops a bomb on Kosuke. Kosuke attacks him, but he stops him using his pouch. Kosuke turns on his radar, but he is not found. He understands Sakamoto uses radar at the same time. Sakamoto learns how to block the radar. He then attacks Kosuke from behind, but he is not killed, but injured. Then he comes to his senses and learns that he is going to kill a human being. He thinks it is a game, but when he sees Kosuke, he realizes that it is real life. Kiyoshi thanks Sakamoto for saving him while they were eating. He becomes emotional and starts weeping. Back at Sakamoto's house, a man named Hisanubu comes and finds Sakamoto's mother has cut her vein in the bathroom. She apologizes to the man and says she has done the worst thing a mother could ever do for her child. She reveals to him that she knows he has been terminated from his job and is hiding his worry from them. Sakamoto is thinking about why he was sent here when he and Kiyoshi see Mitsu's dead body floating down the river. They think there will be an enemy on top, and Sakamoto goes there to see. When he climbs up, he doesn't use his radar because the enemy can come to know about his arrival. Kiyoshi takes the radar from the dead body. Sakamoto finds another dead body whose chip has gone away. He uses radar, and Himiko comes to know that someone is chasing her. She uses a harmful smoke bomb. Sakamoto runs to save himself and sees her behind him. Himiko is about to attack Sakamoto again, but he requests that she listen to him. He says they can get out of this island if they cooperate with each other. He also assures her that he will never harm her. He comes to her, but she again attacks him by saying that all the men are her enemies. Sakamoto dodges her attack and runs toward her. She then takes out her stun gun and again attacks Sakamoto. He also asks her if she is an outsider, and she tells him that she is Japanese. After a few actions, she accidentally shoots herself with her gun and falls on Sakamoto. Sakamoto worries about her. He thinks the man who died did something wrong with her. Because she is alone here, Sakamoto is attracted to her, but soon he realizes that it is wrong. When Himiko comes to her senses, Sakamoto is carrying her. She tries to attempt suicide, but Sakamoto takes the bomb from her hand and deactivates it. He takes her with him to Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi consoles her and gives her coffee. He also assures her that they will never harm her. Himiko reveals that they were chosen to be sent here by people who knew them well. Sakamoto says he was sent here because of his bad behavior with his mother, and Kiyoshi also remembers his fight with his friend. Suddenly, they are surrounded by giant lizards. They are afraid of lizards and run. Sakamoto tells Kiyoshi to take care of Himiko and goes across the river to get bombs and food. Later, Kiyoshi and Himiko are surrounded by Komodo dragons, and Sakamoto drops a bomb on them, but it does not explode. One of the lizards injures Kiyoshi's leg. They are walking, and Kiyoshi asks Sakamoto why he is helping them. Sakamoto assures him that he will never abandon them. Suddenly, a lizard comes in their way, and they run. Sakamoto uses his radar to find Kiyoshi, but he is not found. He thinks that he runs away with all the stuff. He cries aloud and lizards find him. He remembers what Kiyoshi already says to them, and he can't sacrifice his life for them. Another lizard comes there, but Kiyoshi kills it. Then, he comes to know that they turned on the radar at the same time. Lizards come there continuously and attack them. They see a building there and go there to save their lives. Kiyoshi asks them to run away, and he tries to distract the lizard. Sakamoto tries to wake up, and thinks if they sacrifice Himiko, they will survive. He climbs up the ladder and throws a smoke bomb in the forest, destroying all the lizards. Kiyoshi sees it's Himiko's bomb and asks Sakamoto how he uses her bomb, because anyone can't use a weapon against another person. He tells Kiyoshi that he activated this bomb from Himiko's hand and then he blasts it. The next morning, they notice blood in the corner of the building. Sakamoto guesses another game might be played before their arrival. Kiyoshi feels dizzy and collapses due to his injured leg. Sakamoto feels Kiyoshi is suffering from a fever. They left him alone for a while to get some rest. Himiko asks Sakamoto about the lizards and he replies that they are gone but will return. Himiko then inquires if he did something weird to her when she was unconscious that day. Sakamoto assures her that he did nothing to her. At night, Sakamoto helps Kiyoshi and asks Himiko to bind him so he can treat his wound. At Tyrannos, Japan, Jimyu inquires about the game report and guesses Sakamoto is still alive. Himiko is looking at her cosplay photo with Maya when Sakamoto comes there and asks her name. Himiko kicks him and says that she does not trust men. She then tells Kiyoshi that she murdered people only to save herself. Suddenly, they trace a person nearby and Sakamoto plans to distract him. Himiko and Sakamoto are now husband and wife in the world of Butoon, and Sakamoto wants to see Himiko, but she refuses. Sakamoto finds a man who is about to attack him with a knife, but he manages to dodge him in the nick of time and runs. Sakamoto then tries to convince the man named Masashi to join them, but he refuses. Natsume then attacks Sakamoto, but he flees after attacking him with a stun gun. He then reaches his hideout where Himiko and Kiyoshi are already there. Knowing that someone is chasing Sakamoto, Himiko announces that she is leaving them. Meanwhile, Masashi finds Sakamoto, Himiko, and Kiyoshi and demands Himiko Akichi's chip, but she says she did not take it. Masashi throws Sakamoto from the hideout and takes Himiko with him. Later, Sakamoto finds Kiyoshi, who is injured, in Himiko's cell phone and learns that she is his wife in the game. When Sakamoto is about to leave, Kiyoshi begs him not to abandon him. Himiko, who is in Masashi's prison, tries to set herself free and begs him to kill her without violating her virginity. Masashi realizes that a radar is nearby and guesses that Sakamoto is approaching them. He sends Natsume to confront Sakamoto, but after some time, Natsume returns and tells him that Sakamoto has disappeared despite his attack. Meanwhile, Sakamoto reaches their hideout and learns after tracing Himiko that she is nearby. Suddenly, a timer beam falls near him, but he manages to disarm it. He then reaches the room where Himiko is tied up. Himiko starts weeping to see Sakamoto, and Sakamoto calls her name. She is surprised that he knows her name, and Sakamoto then explains that he is Ruauta Sakamoto, who has married her in the game. Himiko says that her real name is not Himiko, and she does not play many video games. When Sakamoto and Himiko are about to escape, Masashi tracks them with his radar and asks Natsume to confront them. Natsume chases them and is killed by Sakamoto's beam. Meanwhile, Himiko is recaptured by Masashi, who then challenges Sakamoto to fight like a man. He attacks Sakamoto and throws the knife from his hand. He is about to kill Sakamoto when Himiko attacks him and attaches a smoke bomb to Masashi's body. They flee from there, and when they are exiting, Masashi again pulls Himiko's leg, but Sakamoto throws another timer bomb and kills him. Himiko and Sakamoto feel embarrassed after hugging each other. Jimyu gives the audience the latest update on Sakamoto's fight. Himiko is watching herself in the game with Sakamoto, who asks her to play and states that he wants to be with her. Back in the present, Sakamoto is crying while holding chips in his hand. Hidemi pushes a man off the cliff where Kodomo dragons eat him. She then throws a bim at him, saying that she will do anything to survive. Jimyu says to his CO that people will not hesitate to betray one another for their own benefits and betray one another for their own benefit. The CO praises Jimyu and asks him to carry on the project. Sakamoto checks, with the help of his radar, that nobody is around him. He then gives some food and a shirt to Himiko. After changing, they sleep in a room, but Himiko makes a barrier to separate herself from Sakamoto. She then asks him why he took the risk to save her, and he replies that he thought her real name was Himiko, who is his wife in the game. He explains that he has played a lot of games, quit school, and not done any work. He preferred his online friends and Himiko over his life. He says sorry to her for thinking of her as his wife and says that he is happy she is safe now. Himiko bursts into tears to hear Sakamoto's thoughts about herself. She thinks she decided never to meet him in real life, but now she is happy to meet him. She does not want to open her heart to the men in her life. She has a dream in which she embraces Sakamoto. When she opens her eyes, she sees a ghastly woman in white who disappears suddenly. Sakamoto thinks she has had a nightmare, but Himiko says it was real because the person had a flashlight. Sakamoto goes searching when suddenly the woman attacks him from behind, but he kicks and knocks her to the floor. He realizes that the woman's left hand is missing. When Sakamoto returns to Himiko with a flashlight in his hand, she attacks him, thinking he is the person in white. He takes the woman with him and tells Himiko that she is not a player who arrived on the island. After opening her eyes, the woman starts yelling at Sakamoto and asks him to leave the room. Himiko calms her down, and after that, she advises Himiko not to trust any man. She trusts Sakamoto because he has saved her many times. The woman, whose name is Shiki Murasaki, tells Himiko about her past. She says she was a nurse who protected a doctor named Date, but he blamed her. She again met the doctor on the island and they planned to collect chips, but after 6 chips, he tried to kill her again. She also tells Himiko that they will be tested after collecting 6 chips, but Himiko does not tell Sakamoto about it. The next day, Himiko and Sakamoto leave Shiki and go to Kiyoshi. Date treats Kiyoshi's wounds and wonders why he has been sent back to the island again. After waking up, Kiyoshi asks Dr. Date who he is, and he tells him that he is a doctor from Chiba. He is thankful to the doctor, and Date decides to use Kiyoshi. When Sakamoto and Himiko come there, Sakamoto asks Date to get away from Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi tells Sakamoto about Date and that he is a good person. Sakamoto apologizes to Date and inquires about his BIM. They check his BIMs, which are used for traps, but Date has not used any of them. Sakamoto then tells him about their plan to escape the island after stealing the helicopter. Sakamoto surprises Date and Kiyoshi by telling them that he already has 3 chips. Date agrees to help them, but Himiko wonders who he is. Date is planning something awful. Sakamoto senses 6 people nearby who are after a parachute containing food. Then Sakamoto finds a man wearing glasses running after a parachute, but they both cannot catch the parachute and fall from a cliff. They both attack each other. Heidi attacks Himiko with a stick and knocks her out while yelling Oda's name. She then throws a BIM on her body, but Sakamoto deactivates the bomb and saves her. Sakamoto then sees Oda throwing a smoke bomb at Date, who has taken off the suitcase from the parachute, and warns him. Date runs from there, and Sakamoto gets the food and flees with the suitcase. In the forest, Hidemi thinks she could not take Himiko's chip after killing her, while Himiko attacks her with her stun gun. Hidemi is surprised to see Himiko alive. On the cliff, Sakamoto is trapped in a vortex of flames, and Kira asks the old man to kill Sakamoto. Oda kicks Sakamoto, snatches his suitcase, and jumps into the ocean. Sakamoto also jumps into the ocean and is hit by the old man's bomb. Himiko and Hidemi fight each other, and they are forced to flee when a bomb is about to hit them. Date asks Himiko if she is okay, and Himiko gets suspicious of him. The old man finds the suitcase, and when he goes to take it, the bomb explodes, fixed by Oda. Oda takes the chips and BIMs from the old man when Sakamoto threatens him to drop the bags and briefcase. Oda says he surrenders and drops the bags, but Sakamoto is suspicious of how he can give up so easily and thinks that Oda has set remote control BIM. When Sakamoto goes near the bags, Oda activates the bomb by using his teeth, but Sakamoto manages to save himself. Gemu and his employer are watching the fight between Sakamoto and Oda, and they are surprised that Sakamoto is still alive. They are both discussing their moves and actions. Sakamoto throws a cracker bomb at Oda, tracks him with his radar, and spots him taking the old man's bomb. Oda counterattacks him, but he jumps into the ocean. Date warns Himiko to be careful, otherwise a minor mistake can cost her life. Oda calls Sakamoto by his name, and Sakamoto asks him how he knew him. Kosuke then appears on a cliff and admires Sakamoto's efforts. He has Sakamoto's belt in his hand, which fell off during the explosion. Sakamoto falls on the sand, all exuberant when Date and Himiko appear there, and Himiko hugs Sakamoto. Sakamoto blushes and apologizes. Oda and Hidemi are eating, and Oda calls her Hideko. He assures her that they are partners. Sakamoto is still thinking about how Oda knows him when suddenly he remembers who Oda is. In a flashback, Sakamoto explains that Oda was very talented and popular at his school. Sakamoto thinks he's the only one Oda can be open with. Sakamoto told Oda about a girl. About a girl? Aiki, whom he loved. They both discussed the girl, and Oda asked him if he had asked out Eiko, but Sakamoto said he was with things now. Oda said to him that the difference between him and Sakamoto is that Sakamoto does not take chances. The next morning, Sakamoto learned that Oda slept with Aiko, and when he asked Oda about it, Oda replied that Aiko confessed to him. Sakamoto punched Oda, thinking that he had humiliated him. Back to the present, Sakamoto, Himiko, and Date are eating a meal, and Date says to them that they will get more food tomorrow. He also realizes from Kiyoshi's wounds that Komodo dragon venom is preventing them from healing. Himiko then suggests they take Kiyoshi to Murasaki for treatment. On the way, Himiko tells Sakamoto how Date tried to kill her. but Sakamoto asks her to trust Date. After reaching there, Himiko says she has forgotten the exact location of medicine, and Date asks to split up and search the place. Date finds the medicines and puts some bottles in a briefcase, and Sakamoto feels Date is frightening him. He gives signals to Himiko and sees her run toward him. Himiko yells at Sakamoto to get off the briefcase because there is a bomb in it. Meanwhile, Date presses the button, and it explodes. Himiko gets frightened to see that Sakamoto is dead, and then Date asks her how she came to know about the BIM in the briefcase. He's about to throw another BIM at Himiko when Shiki comes and attacks Date. 10 minutes earlier, when Himiko asked Shiki about the medicines, they both saw Date in the medicine room. Shiki told Himiko that Date was the person who deceived her. They saw Sakamoto holding the briefcase, and Shiki told Himiko that Date had put a BIM in it. Back in the present, Shiki takes Himiko and they run through the hallway, but Date explodes another BIM. He claims that he has planted BIMs all over the building. Shiki and Himiko try to run out of the window, but they again encounter Date. Shiki throws a crack bomb at Date and he tries to run. Date grins at the success of his trick and presses the button. Another BIM explodes near Shiki and she falls. Date jokes that now he will have more chips after killing Himiko and Kiyoshi. Himiko decides to run from there and regrets not telling Sakamoto that she is his wife. Date throws another cracker bomb at Himiko, but it does not explode much to his surprise. He then realizes that Sakamoto is still alive and has deactivated his bomb. He dived into a cellar below the room when Himiko was asking him to get rid of the medicine briefcase. Himiko is delighted to see Sakamoto alive. Date runs and hides in a corner while Sakamoto follows him. Date is waiting for Sakamoto's catch in the trap set by him, and when he presses the button, Sakamoto says he has replaced the trap. The BIM explodes near Date, while Himiko comes there and asks Sakamoto what he will do now. Then Siki arrives and asks them not to dirty their hands with Date's blood. She then takes her sickle and Date starts begging for his life. He apologizes to Shiki, but she says while crying that she cannot forgive him. Himiko is taking a bath, and then Sakamoto sees her when she is coming out. Himiko slaps him in embarrassment. Later, Sakamoto and Himiko find there is no chip on Akichi's dead body, and Sakamoto guesses Kiyoshi or Oda have taken it. Sakamoto finds a BIM flying over him. Kiyoshi has a dream in which he is looking for Sakamoto in the fog, and a lot of people are telling him something. When he wakes up, a boy is calling him daddy. He goes outside, sees his son, and asks why he has come there. He assures his son and wife in his hallucination that he will come home soon. While walking, Sakamoto asks Hiyoko to walk quickly because the dragon lizard will be awakened soon. When Sakamoto is climbing the ladder, a homing BIM attacks him, but he hits it. Later, another homing BIM arrives, and Sakamoto hits it also, but it explodes and injures Sakamoto's leg. Himiko cries and begs Kiyoshi to stop this. She remembers Murasaki's words, Kiyoshi is betraying them. Sakamoto then realizes it is his fault that he abandoned Kiyoshi. He remembers that his father was obsessed with work and that his mother divorced him and married another man. Sakamoto then urges Himiko to run away, but Himiko confronts Homing Bim and disarms it. Sakamoto makes a connection with Himiko after realizing that she is his wife in B-Tomb. In the forest, Kiyoshi targets Himiko, but Sakamoto manages to disarm the bomb and uses his radar to locate Kiyoshi. Kiyoshi is running and fears that Sakamoto will kill him. While running, he stumbles and falls off a hill. Sakamoto apologizes to Kiyoshi for abandoning him and begs to give him a chance. Kiyoshi is surrounded by Komodo dragons and thinks that it is his punishment. After some time, Sakamoto and Himiko hear an explosion, and Sakamoto runs toward Kiyoshi. Sakamoto thinks he is responsible for Kiyoshi's despair, and Himiko is also sad at this. Himiko asks Sakamoto to kill her and take her chip to get outside of the island, but he refuses. He says he will never leave her, and they both kiss each other. When they get close to each other, Himiko gets frightened. Sakamoto then assures her that they will be a couple back at home, and she embraces him. Jimu tells some people to hurry to the island to fix the computers.